the health benefits of working out and the longevity benefits, squat strength, grip strength associated with longevity. But we know sauna can help increase all-cause mortality. Ice bath is helping a lot when it comes to blood sugar stability, mental stability, so many benefits there. Do you think this is an area that's going to grow more and more?
There's a lot of cold plunge and ice baths being set up over the last year. So there aren't so many saunas and the contrast therapy together. But I do know a lot of the hotels have added a cold plunge and ice bath. So I do think that people will start adding the saunas to go with their cold plunges, and it will become more of a thing in Tulum. That's what I've noted. Yeah, I think one person did an ice bath, and now there's probably 100 places that have ice baths here.
Welcome to the Kris Gethin podcast. And for those of you watching this, you may be looking at the backdrop thinking that's a little bit different to your usual backdrop. The reason being is that we are in the most Instagram gym in the world, Jungle Gym. And we are here with one of the owners, Katie. What is up, Katie?
I'm good, thank you.
Good?
Happy to be here.
Now, for the people that don't know much about the gym, the ones that are living under a rock, and the people that don't know much about you, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Like, you obviously got into the fitness lifestyle at some point, and then the evolution came to Tulum, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But let us know exactly where you came from and what was the evolution from getting into like the fitness field.
I started training when I was about 7, swimming, and I did that for a few years. Then I went into gymnastics and I competed at a very high level. From that, I went to kickboxing, got a black belt in kickboxing.
Kickboxing as well?
Yeah.
Black belt?
Yes.
Don't mess with you.
I think I've forgotten it now, actually. Somebody asked me about it the other day and I said I don't really remember any of it. And then I started doing Ironmans and endurance events.
Is this in the UK?
In the UK. So I'm from Wales as well, for anyone that didn't
two
get
Welsh
the
here.
accent here. And yeah, while I was doing that, I was actually doing a PhD in university in criminology. And I really didn't like it at all. And a friend of mine, he was a personal trainer, and he was like, why don't you just quit and be a personal trainer because your passion is training? And I thought about it for a while, and I took a sabbatical for a year, and I trained to become a personal trainer, and I ended up setting up my own studio, training clients one-to-one.
This is in Wales as well?
Yep, that's in Swansea in Wales. And then I met Ali, who's the other owner of the Jungle Gym. He's Scottish. He's a military trainer. And that's where we ended up coming to Tulum and setting up the gym.
So you both set up like this business in Wales, but then you both decided at the same time to come to Tulum?
No, so I had my own personal training business.
Yeah.
He was in the military,
yeah,
and also working in fitness, weight loss boot camps. And he had come to Tulum in 2014 to work in the winter months as a trainer in the hotels up at the beach.
Got it.
So we started dating the next year, only for a few months. And then he was leaving to come back here for 4 months as a trainer. And there's quite a funny story to this. So we've been dating for a few months. And then I spent a week with him and his family. We went to go and stay with his uncle by the airport before he left. So then I had this really awkward conversation before he left, saying sort of, oh, you know, what's going on with us? Shall we carry on keeping in contact when you leave? And he just sat there for 2 minutes, red-faced in silence, really awkward. And then eventually he blurts out, I don't love you. I don't see you in my 5-year plan. Don't wait around for me. Like, brutally honest. And I was like, okay. And then driving into the airport, I'm like, okay, get lost then. So I dropped him off.
Surprised you drove in there.
Yeah, I dropped him off, drove home. We didn't speak for 3 months, no contact at all. And then he messages me one day, oh, hi, Katie, how are you? Fancy coming for a free holiday in Tulum for 2 weeks? You can stay at the hotel I'm staying in. And I was like, and then I thought about it, and I thought, all right, if somebody wants to give me a free holiday, fine, I'll go with it. So I came for the 2 weeks, just with the pretense of, oh, we're just going to be friends. There's nothing in this. And I absolutely fell in love with Tulum when I was here. And then we came back to the UK, carried on dating. And then I must have become in his 5-year plan. I still, to this day, ask him about this 5-year plan, and he has no recollection of ever saying this. But I remember clearly what happened. And then he said to me, why don't you, when I go next season, come with me? So in 2016, I quit my job, gave up my home, my studio, my clients, flew here with him. And the plan was just to be here for 6 months working as trainers on the beach. And then that's when Ali actually came up with the idea of making some wooden equipment to use with our personal training clients. So that's kind of how it started. We started using them in the classes, and everybody loved them. So then he kept getting more and more, a plyo box made, a squat rack made. And then we were kind of like, oh, actually, maybe we could rent a bit of beach land and set up a little gym. And the plan was just a little gym on the beach that people that were staying in the beach zone could use, because there was no gym at the beach at the time. So that's how the idea was born, and that's how the gym started. And this tiny little, it had a couple of dumbbells, a few barbells, a plyo box, and a squat rack. And that's what we started out with originally.
That's fascinating. And what was the idea behind the wooden like dumbbells and stuff like that? Was it initially because it was easy, it was cheap, you didn't have to import it, or because it would kind of go with the Tulum sort of vibe? It's
because it would go with the Tulum vibe, because all the beaches on the hotel zone are made out of wood, bamboo, and stone. There's no concrete hotels up there. So we realized we wouldn't be able to just put normal metal machines as well out in the sun, because they were going to weather.
Yeah.
And that's why Ali said, oh, I think it'd be really cool if we could make something fit in with the hotels up there. I actually told him it wouldn't work. So I remember him saying, I'm going to get some dumbbells made out of wood. And I said, oh my God, they're going to have to be so big to get the same density as he would metal. It's not going to be functional. And then he totally ignored me, went and got them made. And then I was like, oh, actually, they are functional. They do work. So that's why the idea came to make them out of natural materials of wood and bamboo.
Got it. And I'd say some people would really like it out of wood because they're bigger. And much like a lot of the gym equipment today, as opposed to many, many years ago, you'd put like 5 plates off the stack. You're like, man, that's difficult, doing a hamstring curl.
Yeah.
But now you can do the whole stack and it's easy. And I think that's how a lot of gyms get people into their clubs, because they feel like more confident, they're pushing more weight. And I guess, especially guys, we ego lift.
Guys.
Yeah, ego lift. So, you get a big ego when you're holding big dumbbells like that. So I'm sure that was part of the attraction.
Yeah, for the guys, because it looks like you're lifting double, triple the amount of weight. Lots of people do message and ask, are they fake weights? And they're not. They're actually, if they say 50 kilos, they're 50 kilos.
Yeah.
But people always say fake weights, and they're not. They're exactly what they say they are. And yeah, the guys love them, because it does look like you're lifting a lot more weight than you are.
Yeah, and they feel really good. It doesn't feel like they're off balance or anything like that. They feel very functional. You can do, you just like you're doing a normal dumbbell or barbell, it feels very functional.
It was trial and error. So these could be like prototype 5 or 6 from when we first started. So I think, first of all, for all the bars, we had the wooden bar instead of the metal. And then the wood broke because of the weight at the end.
Right.
And then we realized, okay, we need to use metal. So then we bought normal metal, rust straight away. So then we realized, oh, okay, it has to be a specific metal. So then we had to buy that metal. Then we were trying to work on the functionality of the end of the weight, so making them thinner and not as high, so they were more functional than the original ones that we started with. So we've gone through lots of different prototypes to get to where we are now.
Got it. Okay.
So they are more functional for people using them.
And then at what stage, how long were you doing these classes with like the wooden weights that you'd created, and then transition into having your own gym?
So I think me and Ali worked in the gym ourselves for free for at least a year. So we weren't taking a salary. We were just taking money from our private training clients. And then any money that we made from people buying a day pass, we used to reinvest in the gym for a whole, maybe year and a half.
For more equipment.
Yes. So everything we made got put into the gym to make more equipment and to expand the products that we had in the gym. And then, yeah, after about a year and a half, there was a Lad Bible.
Yeah, yeah.
So they sent us a message and said, oh, we just came across your page. Can we use a couple of your clips to post a story about you guys? So I said, yeah. We weren't into Instagram or anything like that at the time. So I was like, yeah, fine, whatever. Anyway, the next morning, all my friends had tagged me in this post that they had seen on Facebook, and it had 23 million views overnight.
Wow.
So it had gone viral. And then from then, that is when the gym really took off.
What year was this?
That was 2017.
Okay.
So we've been running for about a year and a half, maybe getting 10 people a day, 5 people a day, just buying day passes because they walk down the beach and went, oh, what's that? Oh, okay, I'll pay a couple of dollars and come in. So yeah, from that one post, our Instagram inbox went crazy. Emails went crazy from people all over the world asking about it. Men's Health contacted us, wanted to do a photo shoot at the gym. Lots of magazines started contacting us just from that one post. So that went viral and everything changed overnight. It was crazy. And yeah, our idea was this small little gym on the beach for some people in the hotels to use. And then overnight, you had all these fitness influencers, sports professionals coming to visit us. They were doing posts. So it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we've never had to pay for advertising, any marketing, nothing. We've been super, super lucky.
So then you basically had all these influencers just flying in from around the world just to use the gym and use it as the backdrop for their photo shoots and workouts. And it is like Insta famous.
I think we're really lucky. It's an Instagram gym. It's Instagrammable. You've got the beautiful clear ocean, the white sand. It's perfect backdrop for influencers to want to come in and get their content. And I think one of the biggest ones we had was Michelle Lewin.
Yeah.
Back in the early days. And she shot some videos there. And then it made us even bigger again. And then we had Regan Grimes, Tavi Castro. They were the guys that sort of came in the first few years that really helped us grow and become sort of famous on Instagram. I mean, we've had a lot more over Callum Von Morgan, Kris Gethin.
Of course. Wait, let's save the best till last. And then Ulysses was here last year as well.
Yes, Steve Cook. We've had Formula One, Pierre Gasly been there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't see him. It's just he tagged the post. And I was like, damn it, I love Formula One. I should have loved to have met him. UFC people, I think Batista.
Oh, yeah. Dave Batista.
Heavyweight boxer from the UK.
Lennox Lewis.
David Hay.
Oh, David Hay, yeah.
I remember me and Ali were at the gym. We were staring and we were, I know him. Is he a boxer? And then I said, I'm just going to go and ask him. And I went and asked him. And then he said, yeah. And he was such a lovely guy. And we've had quite a few CrossFit athletes as well come over and use it. So lots of different sports people from different backgrounds.
Yeah, well, when I was in here last year with a friend of mine, he was pointing at some guy here who is like a world famous like videographer.
Okay.
And he does like a lot of extreme sports and stuff like that. I'd never heard of him, but he teaches people how to do it. So you get all sorts of people coming through here. A lot of the time I wouldn't recognize him, but it obviously has become that spot. And so just for clarity, you actually had 2 gyms here. We are in the Pueblo, but the first one was down at the beach, correct?
Yes, we had the beach gym for 5 years before we opened the town location. And the reason we opened the town location is the beach location is actually very small. And we came to the point where we were having to turn customers away because it was full. So maybe if you've got more than 40 people, 50 people, it's too many in there. So we were turning customers away, losing business. And also Ali had ideas about making machines, and they wouldn't fit in the beach location. So we did look for a larger plot of land on the beach, and there wasn't any available. So then we thought, well, maybe we could make one in the town because a lot more tourists were starting to stay in the town then as well. So we found this plot of land and set up the town gym, which has now been running for 4 years. So it's 3 times the size. We've just added a sauna and a cold plunges as well. So it has a lot more equipment here and machines. We don't have any machines at the beach at the moment because there's no space. And cats. Yeah, there's 20 cats here. It started with 3. They had babies and then they had babies. Now they're all sterilized. But we seem to lose 1 and then gain 2. That's what happens. So there's lots of cats walking around. So if you don't like cats, then maybe go to the beach location.
But they're respectful cats.
Yeah, they don't come and jump on you or attack you while you're training.
But like back in the day, like I remember whenever you'd go to like a hardcore gym in Wales, they'd always have dogs in there. They'd always have a pit bull or a Staffordshire or something like one to come and lick your armpit when you're doing a bench or something like that. So a lot of people are used to it. Not as many cats
running around gyms. But yeah, they don't do anything. They just walk past you and want some attention now and again.
So with, you've opened the Pueblo here now. You've got like 2 levels here. You do like yoga and stuff like that. And you've got some leg equipment up there, Panata.
Yeah, we've got 5 Panata leg machines up there. Yeah, basically we had all this empty space. We were using it for yoga classes. And then we thought it might be nice to add some traditional machines. So we got some Panata up there at the moment. And then the plan was to add more Panata. But we want to see how they weather first, to be honest, because they're starting to rust a little bit on the metal.
Yeah.
So we don't want to go and buy a whole floor full of them, just in case in a year or 2's time, they're not usable.
Got it. Yeah. I was just speaking with Eduard, who is Rudy Panata's son, who's in charge of the company now. A few weeks ago at the Island Classic. I wonder if they're going to come out with an outdoor line that can weather the storm. We can certainly ask him. But and the funny thing is, we were here last year when we were looking after your place. And then I saw a video just after we left of Yanita training upstairs on the leg equipment. I was like, I had no idea. We were here the whole time. Didn't venture upstairs to look at the equipment, but now we'll obviously take advantage of it. Now, with a lot of the equipment here, obviously you've got the hack squat, you've got the leg press, you've got the bench presses. What I really like about the bench press, and I'd like to get your feedback on this, you actually put rocks in these baskets. So there is a little bit of fixator stability work that you have to do. Now, I just injured my shoulder in December last year. When I actually did the bench press on there, I actually felt it felt really good. Because now it felt like I was strengthening up my stability muscles.
Yeah.
Do you have people coming in considering this as like part of a rehab work as well? Because this offers something different to what traditional weights would?
I see it as a stability exercise, but no. What I find funny about these is it's a lot harder to bench this in terms of weight.
Oh, for sure.
And what I see these guys do is they'll throw in, without testing the bar first, what they would lift like for a normal set, and then you just see them go like, and then they're stuck. And then I'm giggling to myself thinking, why wouldn't you test the bar first? Well, it's always guys.
Yeah, because there's probably a little bit of bend in the bamboo as well that you have to consider.
Yeah, because obviously it's not as stable. Your stabilizing muscles are engaging, so you can't lift the same amount of weight. Not straight off the bat anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what I find funny with those. Just watching the guys throw in the rocks in, and I'm thinking, they're not going to lift that.
Funny.
And we also have on the beach a squat version.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
I call it the wobble bar. So it's the same when you go to squat them, because your stabilizing muscles are having to work harder.
Got it.
So it's wobbling when you're going up and down. So you can't lift as much weight as you would with a standard bar.
Of course. But like I did that. I did chest here the other day. It's the first time I'd done proper shoulder workout and chest workout since I had my injury. But I tell you what, the next day, my pecs were killing me. So it obviously really directed the area that needed to be worked. But my shoulders felt really, really good, utilizing obviously a lighter weight, but it felt very, very direct, very different, a different kind of trauma.
Yeah, no, I really like it. That's probably my favorite bra. I think it allows you to move your shoulders into a better position as well. Whereas a standard bar, I feel like I'm kind of locked in.
Yeah.
Because I get issues with my shoulder benching, and I do prefer this bar with a lighter weight.
Got it.
Yeah. As well.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the differences here specifically, you've got the size, and then down at the beach, it's a little bit smaller, but you are on the sand, you're barefoot, you can see and hear the ocean. And of course, you cannot help but notice a lot of women really like to wear the G-string kind of swimsuits down there. So I'm sure that it attracts clientele as well.
That's famous.
Yeah, when they see the Instagram, they're like, we are training there, baby. We're going there.
That's what, especially the guys, they tell their partner, oh, we need to go to Tulum and train at this gym.
Yeah, and I bought you this.
Yeah, that's what really made it famous, is the women training in bikinis, squatting. Let's be honest, if I put a post of a guy lifting super heavy, doing something really impressive, and then I put just a woman doing some squats in a G-string, it's going to get 10 times the amount of likes and views. So that's the reason, I think, as well, that it sort of blew up on Instagram, was the fact that women are in there in their bikinis.
It's like you're working out in Baywatch.
Yeah.
Right. So, when it comes, like, I'm fascinated about the equipment. When, for instance, you're doing the hack squat, the leg press, you've got the lat pull downs over here, the tricep cable crossovers. When you're actually making this stuff, is this something that Ali had kind of studied himself? Or do you get local people here and they're wood furniture makers or whatnot? Who is creating this stuff and coming up with this? Because I'm sure the actual dynamic and the functionality has to be spot on before even considering putting this stuff together.
So Ali does basic drawings and takes photos. So goes to a regular gym, for instance, takes a picture of the hack squat. I've seen him, we're in the gym, he's measuring the angles, the length, the width. So he just does like a simple drawing with the measurements, and then he takes it to the carpenters here. And they've probably never been to the gym in their life. So he's showing them pictures and videos of how the machine works in a regular gym, and then trying to explain to them what he wants and how he wants them to make it. So it's a combination of both. And then they'll start the work, and then we go and test, or is the angle at the right place? Is the weight in the right place? So it's a bit of both, but Ali is the one that comes up with the idea and then takes it to the carpenters, and then they create it. And also there's metal guys for the machines that do the metal work. This was actually made by Janice, who's a European guy, and he created this piece with Ali. He travels around the world doing Burning Man sets.
Right.
He goes and does big festivals and works with wood and designs all their sets. So he's very good with the machines. When Ali shows him, this is how I want you to do it, he just knows how to do it. He's very good.
Interesting.
Whereas the standard dumbbells, these were just done by local carpenters by hand. So they do not have specialized equipment. They do not have a factory. They've got a little hut in the jungle, and they sit there with their chainsaws just chipping away. And then they have a scales, weigh it on the scales, chipping away. So they take a long time to create the pieces, because we've had people asking to order them. And then you kind of say, well, it's probably going to take 6 months to make a set of dumbbells. And then, oh, no, it's too long. But they take a long time because you have to dry the wood out as well for 3 months. Otherwise it cracks. So you buy it, they cut it into little pieces, and then they have to leave it in the sun to dry for 3 months before they even start doing the work on them.
Interesting. And then does it have to be lacquered like every so often, stained lacquered to protect the wood?
Yes, constant maintenance. Every year we have to reweigh them, and they've usually lost half a kilo to a kilo. So then we have to sand them all down, relabel them as a different weight, and then varnish them, because they lose density over time.
Yeah.
So every year we need to constantly reweigh them. And that's why some of the dumbbells say random numbers on them at the beach, because that's what they weigh now as to when they started as 15 kilos.
Interesting.
So it's constant maintenance. It's not like a standard gym where, I don't know, maybe once a year you do a bit of maintenance on your cardio machines.
Yeah.
Everything has to be sanded and varnished all the time. The baskets, they break quite a lot, with people sitting in them. So we need to redo the rope work.
Right.
The bamboo tends to break. So now we've found a special resin to put on that helps to make it stronger. Because initially we kept baking bamboo bars and they'd snap within a week. And then we get another one, they break. And eventually we found this resin that makes it stronger, so it'll last longer.
Fascinating.
But yeah, it's just been like trial and error as we go along. I say as Ali went along. He did the equipment side of the business.
So, I noticed, obviously when we're staying at your house, you and Ali are definitely into like, you've done the Ironmans, you've done the CrossFit events and all that sort of stuff, the extreme stuff. But you're definitely into like the longevity and the health span. Of course, you've got the inclusion now of the sauna and the ice baths, and you've got the chili pad at home and all this sort of stuff. Have you noticed, being here for so many years now, a lot of people moving to Tulum? Because I had a conversation with David, I think it was. They've had health problems in the past. They just end up coming to Tulum, and they kind of, they get their health back and really start focusing on their health span. Have you witnessed that from a lot of people coming here? I don't know if it's because they're getting more sun. I don't know if they're earthing themselves or if it's the culture or environment. But is that something that you've noticed that is becoming more apparent here?
Yes. Do you know what? There's a lot of people I know that's come here from Canada since COVID. They all started moving here and getting away from Canada for those very reasons. And I think it's because you're outdoors all the time in the sun. You're getting your vitamin D, you're in nature, you're not stuck indoors in offices.
A lot of pollutants.
Yeah, lots of them have given up their maybe corporate careers and they just moved here. They're not stressed out all the time. It's very relaxed here. And I do think that has made a big difference. And lots of people I speak to as well have moved. They say they're going to stay for 2 or 3 months. And then that becomes 6 months, a year. And then they end up buying a place and then they don't leave. Tulum sort of sucks you in like that as well. The same as we were just coming for a couple of months to work as trainers. And then we set up the business and didn't end up going back to the UK. Yeah, I think lots of people do move here for the health benefits. Like you said, the pollutants, the fresh air, the sunshine. Just a different way of life. When I first came here, I said it was like the hippie town. That's what it reminded me of. It's like yoga and Zen and that sort of vibe. And I think that's why a lot of people are attracted to Tulum.
Yeah, because for instance, we've got a retreat happening here this weekend and a lot of people host retreats here.
Yes.
You've got the temazcals, you've got the meditation, the sound baths on the beach. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of people have moved here as digital nomads and this has become their home. And since, we had the COVID hit, the world lockdown, it seems like a lot of people moved here. Have you seen like a kind of a sharp increase over the past 5 years of more and more people coming here and settling down and making this their permanent residence?
Yes, since COVID. So Mexico was one of the first countries to open back up. Sort of everybody closed their border. And Mexico did for a few months, and then they were like the only country that was open. Since then, so what was that, 2020?
2021, was it?
Yeah. Since then, it has just expanded. The construction here has gone crazy since COVID. In every direction, there's new projects, new buildings. They've spent a lot of money on redoing up the roads, even though they then redig them up and do them again and again. But yeah, it's just gone from when I moved here 10 years ago. I'd say it's triple the size in 10 years because expats are moving here as well to set up a life here. Like you said, digital nomads who can work online. Yeah, it's gone crazy. And I think it's going to continue to develop probably for the next 10 to 15 years and get bigger and bigger. Now they have an airport. Yeah. They now have a train that they've put in. So yeah, sorry, it's my dog. So yeah, it's changed dramatically over the last 10 years.
So with that being said, do you still see yourself being here and do you see the possibility of maybe opening another jungle gym either here? But my follow-up question is, have you ever considered it maybe as a franchise for other parts of the world?
I would love to move back to Europe eventually, maybe in 5 or 10 years. Sorry. Dobby, just because I see this more developing more as for younger people. It's got quite a big party scene now that it didn't have a few years ago as well. So for me, I'm thinking when I'm 50, am I really going to want to be living in this big party scene?
I'm 50. We're moving here.
I'm 41. Okay. So I'm nearly 42. So I've been thinking about it. And yeah, I would like to move back to Europe to be closer to my family as well. So we had discussed maybe looking at setting up a jungle gym back in Europe. And then in terms of franchising, loads of people have contacted us, either about buying the equipment or wanting to franchise a gym. And I think because we were so busy trying to, with the second location, to get it up and running, because it wasn't as easy as a beach location, we focused all our energy here. It is something that I do think would work, but we haven't actually got around to looking into it. And to be honest, we don't have the skill set and the expertise in terms of franchising. So I think we'd have to bring on a business partner if we were to do that, who had the skills and expertise in that area to help us with that. But yeah, it's something that we could do. The only other issue is manufacturing that we were discussing, because if the carpenters take 6 months to make a set of dumbbells, I don't think you could manufacture it here. I feel like it would need to be outsourced to China or Taiwan, somewhere where they could manufacture the product quickly.
Yeah.
So there is an issue. We don't have a manufacturer here to be able to sell the equipment. If you've sold 50 franchises, you've got to be able to deliver the product.
Yeah.
And we don't
true.
have that infrastructure here. So that's another reason that we haven't done it.
Yeah. Or you'd have to find whoever wants that franchise would have to have a local carpenter that gets approved by yourself or something along those lines.
Yeah, you could go out in a consulting capacity and work with their carpenters to design the equipment. So, Ali would do that. And then you could give them the business model as a franchise then as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when we were in India in the Goa, the people there that had a hotel mentioned this place and said, do you know if they would franchise to have a place like that in Goa? And then we were in Dubai late last year and see they're trying to set up something kind of similar there. Because I think a lot of people now obviously everybody knows about Jungle Gym.
Yes.
I just told somebody yesterday that we're here in Tulum. Oh, you have to go to that outdoor gym. Yeah, we're going.
Yeah, we know. We've been before.
Yeah. And, so people are like, wow, that's awesome. We have the climate like they do in Dubai. We want to set up something like that. So I was just wondering if there'd been much of a demand.
Loads. And every week there's somebody asking. Last week there's a guy from Portugal. This week a guy from Italy. To pretty much every country in the world, apart from maybe South Africa area, have wanted to set one up and asked either to buy the equipment or franchise. I do think it's something that we kind of missed out on here. So we could have done it. I think in hindsight, looking back, it would have been better to look into that and take the business that direction rather than setting up the second location, in my opinion. Yeah,
but
that's what I feel. I feel like we should have gone in that direction instead of setting up a second location here.
Well, based on the amount of people that you said that's calling you, there's still no reason why you still couldn't have that in your future, especially if you're thinking about going back, to Europe in the near future. So, what you've seen in Tulum and you've seen the evolution of people working out in a place like this, a facility, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's really cool. Do you feel now, of course, you've got this, but now you have the accompaniment of the ice bath and the sauna. We know the health benefits of working out and the longevity benefits, squat strength, grip strength associated with longevity. But we know sauna can help increase all-cause mortality. Ice bath is helping a lot when it comes to blood sugar stability, mental stability, so many benefits there. Do you think this is an area that's going to grow more and more?
With the gym or in Tulum?
In Tulum,
yes.
Especially that sort of thing.
There's a lot of cold plunge and ice baths being set up over the last year. So there aren't so many saunas and the contrast therapy together. But I do know a lot of the hotels have added a cold plunge and ice bath. So I do think that once one person starts doing something, I've noticed in Tulum, everybody starts doing it. So I do think that people will start adding the saunas to go with their cold plunges, and it will become more of a thing in Tulum. That's what I've noticed. Yeah, I think one person did an ice bath, and now there's probably 100 places that have ice baths here.
Yeah, okay. And so there'll probably be more biohacking clinics and IV therapy and,
I know a guy who's Irish. Call him Irish Dave, because I can't remember his last name. And he goes to CrossFit. He's setting up a massive retreat center just up the road. It's going to have Muay Thai. He's CrossFit. It's going to have like MRI scanners, state-of-the-art equipment, that is red light therapy. He's been doing it for nearly 10 years now. So every year I ask him, when is it going to be ready? So he's told me 2025, and it's called Zamna. No, Zamna. I can't quite.
Zamna.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's huge. He's bringing in experts from Bali to build a bamboo, it's like a circus hall. It's round. The main area for doing the CrossFit training is going to be in this round bamboo center. So he's bringing in people from Bali. He's bringing in experts from LA to set up the longevity center. So, he's got a lot of money behind that project, and that's going to be here, I'd say 2 years. I don't think it's going to be ready next year.
Yeah.
But that's going to be here, and that's literally just up the road. And then I know another guy who's looking at setting up a longevity center slightly further out of town. So I do think in a few years, those will be running here as well.
Yeah. So that's awesome, because that means that the kind of health span longevity sector is still going to grow and grow here in Tulum, because then you've got everything. You've got the athletic aspect, you've got the longevity aspect, you've got the spiritual aspect.
Yes.
And then obviously you have the beautiful seasonal weather here as well on top of that.
The heat and the heat.
Yeah. But it's manageable. It's okay now.
Yes.
It's just, people pop away during the monsoons.
I think that lots of people that come here are health conscious. So whether they're, like you said, that they're older and they've had some health scare and they're moving here to try and change their lives, or whether they're younger digital nomads coming here, I think everybody that's right here is health conscious.
Right. Now, going back just quickly on your personal journey, you mentioned quickly that you used to compete in kickboxing and CrossFit and Ironman triathlon. Any ambition to get back to a bit of that? And have you done any of that since you moved to Tulum?
So I've done a power lift. Michelle, your friend, and JJ managed to convince me to do a powerlifting competition here. So they coached me for a year, and then I went and did it. But I'm terrible at the squat. I am so good at deadlift and bench and awful at squat. So I did it anyway. And I think I came second, and there was 2 of us in our category. But I still got the certificate to say I came second in my weight range. So never mind. And no, not at the moment. I think I picked up so many injuries when I was younger, competing, and now they seem to be catching up with me as I get older. So I was doing CrossFit here for a while, and all the time I was getting problems with my shoulder and my neck. So I had to stop doing that.
Were those injuries from CrossFit?
No, that was an old injury. I went on total wipeout. And I dislocated my shoulder on there and had to have surgery. And then I think I've got a lot of scar tissue built up because it kept dislocated and dislocating. So I have an issue with that shoulder. And then the other shoulder compensates for it. And then that's why that one gets super tight all the time.
Got it.
So at the moment, no. I do know they do an Ironman in Cozumel, which isn't too far, which I'd thought about maybe you could do the half.
Yeah.
Just because of the heat.
Yeah.
Because all the Ironmans I did were freezing cold and raining in the UK.
In Wales?
I did Wales at the UK one.
Tenby?
Bolton.
Oh, Bolton. Yeah, tough.
So I'm saying it's completely different in the heat. So, but I have thought maybe you should get back into it. But then how do you practice your road bike? You've seen the roads around here. It's just full of potholes. And I'm thinking, I don't know how you get a good road bike.
I got an answer for you. The Watt bike. Do you know the Watt bike? So that's a stationary bike.
Yeah, I used to have one in the UK. I watched TV on it.
A lot of cyclists would use the Watt bike. And then obviously you've got the actual trainer that you can put your bike in. So you can kind of get used to being in the saddle. Because I know a lot of professional Ironman athletes do that because they feel it's too dangerous on a lot of the roads where they live. And then, have maybe a curved treadmill that people would run on. So a lot of it can be done indoors if you've got, you could go to the ocean and swim.
Yeah, so the swimming's fine. The running's okay, apart from being very hot. But yeah, it was just the bike. But yeah, I used to have a turbo trainer I used to put a movie on and I would just sit there, watch the whole movie, turning the pedals, just getting time in the saddle. More trying to get my bum used to sitting in there, to be honest. Yeah. You've done one as well, haven't you?
I've done a couple of, done full, and we've done half. We've done 2 halves together as well.
You haven't done the full one yet? Oh, come on. There's your challenge for you.
You can both do Cozumel.
Yeah, we can go die together in the heat.
Yeah, because we've done them, and it's only been in the heat when we've done them. It's just been really, really hot. It's okay. The heat's not as bad. It's just the actual it.
Yeah, Ali won't do anything endurance. He hates it. So that's not his
Well,
thing.
I kind of enjoyed it. Enjoyed the
I loved
stuff.
it. When I finished and passed the finish line and they give me the medal, that's when I was like, oh,
And then say there's free pizza over here.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship. It's just like with anything, you have to make that sacrifice. This is challenging to work out. Yoga, meditation, anything worth doing. A lot of the time, it just requires a sacrifice. Now, that sacrifice, obviously, when you're doing an Ironman, is for hours because there's so much time in training, not just the event itself. So I can understand when people just do a few of them, they go, that's a lot of training. It's a lot of time that it takes out on you, you know? So I totally get it. But
Yeah, I'm doing more yoga and meditation work at the moment. Yin yoga, to be specific.
Makes sense.
Because I find it really challenging. Just lying there in the same pose for 8 minutes, trying not to move. It's a challenge. Different type of challenge.
yeah,
And yes, I'm trying to do a lot more meditation work while I'm here, especially in this environment
Yeah.
where you said it's very spiritual here. So that has been my focus, to try and heal my body and give it time to repair, because I've hammered it with all these high intensity sports for nearly 40 years. So now I'm trying to give it a chance to recover and do softer, gentler things with it.
yeah.
So I'm not saying that I want to take up a new sport eventually, but at the moment I'm in the recovery period.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
my body recover.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Like during our retreat this weekend, we're going to have some yoga instructors, sound bath. I definitely want to participate in it.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
Oh, with the balls.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Love them.
On the beach,
Yeah.
Route Not to.
Yes.
Thank you ever so much for your time because I know you've got to go and play tennis.
Paddle tennis.
Paddle
Yeah,
tennis.
that's
So
my
there's
new thing.
here's a new
That's my
sport.
new thing. Paddle tennis.
So could you let the listeners know where they can find you, where they can ask questions about yourself and Jungle Gym?
So we have a website, Tulum Jungle Gym. You can email us at hello@tulumjunglegym.com. And we also have our Instagram page, Tulum Jungle Gym. If you DM, then I'll be the person that replies back on email and the DMs. That would be the best place to get hold of us.
Awesome.
Or maybe if there's someone out there who wants to help with franchising, then you can send us a message. Somebody with those expertise would be great.
Jag Chima,
Okay.
give us a holler. All right. Thank you ever so much. Really appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Peace.